What's happening, everybody? I'm taking a quick setup break here to explain what will be coming up soon. So obviously behind me is still my lovely Keystone kit, and I decided after making all of the gear videos and having the updates and the mics and the hardware and this, that, and the other thing, that I should do some videos explaining my other kit, my traveling kit. So we're going to start here. I'm going to explain more about what the kit is, why it's here, what I use it for, that kind of stuff. I'll explain that a little bit later. So coming soon on that. But in the meantime, here's the hardware. I'll get into what the kit is and why later. But my goal for the hardware on this kit was to have something that still is symmetrical and still includes, it still includes enough instruments to where I can play any gig on this kit, but also to not have to spend hours to try and set it up like I do for the Keystone kit. So as you can see, it's still a pretty big rack, but it's a little bit scaled down. So another pearl icon rack, just like with the Keystones. Got a full-size front bar here and a mini expansion bar on the outside. Same thing, I went back to Ace Hardware and picked up another fencing piece, because at the point that I was putting this kit together, I still didn't know about the pearl part that does the exact same thing. Whatever, it works. So yep. So, and the only reason, because obviously this kit, when I put it together, it was just a single bass drum. And like I talked about before, the reason for having this expansion bar on there is because at one point I did go to a double bass drum setup with two 20-inch bass drums. But even after I switched back from the from the two 20-inch bass drum kit to the Keystone kit where there was a single 24-inch bass drum, I kept the expansion bar, and it just helps keep, it helps give me more options. It helps keep the sides a little bit wider so that I have more possibilities with what I can do with hardware and instruments and things like that. So when I was putting this kit together, I did the same thing. I had an expansion bar put on that. The sides are actually not full size. Again, I'm forgetting the name of this bar. These two curved bars, but it's the same one you can see back there on the gong stand. Someone's calling me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you just love scam calls? Anyway, so I'm forgetting the exact name of those, or the exact part number of these sides here, but they're about half the size of a full, this kind of full size piece. And that was perfect for what I was trying to do, because one of the issues that I've had taking the normal size rack to certain venues is that sometimes the stage is too or either the stage or the drum riser is too shallow, and so the normal rack legs would be off, like the back and or the sides. So having half size, having these sides that are half the size makes it easier to take this places. As you can see, I still have the capability to have 4 hi-hats, 3 operable hi-hats, and an X-hat. Same thing with the pedals. You can see I've got my left foot right hand, I've got my right foot left hand, and I've got my left foot left hand. And a trick that I use for the 2 left pedals here is that I set them so that, as you can probably see right here, I'm stepping on both of them at the same time. This is a Carter Buford and or Dennis Chambers trick, where they use, and actually Thomas Lang as well, they use 1 foot for 2 pedals. Although normally when they do it, they're doing hi-hat and bass drum. But in my case, I use 2 hi-hats. And so you can see I'm moving both hi-hats and they're hitting the bottom at the exact same time. So usually when I'm setting the hi-hats, I actually set both of them at the exact same time. And that way I can have a stereo hi-hat arrangement if I want. This kit, I have the ability, if I want, to have the 6th pedal with a foot snare, but I very often don't need it. That's kind of a Herta Bison only thing right now, having the foot snare. Obviously the rack tom mounts here are different. On the Keystone kit, there's a Pearl Optimount system. On these drums, it's the Ludwig, I think it's Atlas 88, I want to say. That's the tom mounts, and so these are just they're actually meant. These are basically just Ludwig single tom holders, and when you buy them, they actually come with the hardware enough for you to be able to drill them into a bass drum. But obviously, I'm not doing that. I'm just putting them in a rack, and so that's what I'm doing there. You'll see this once the whole kit is set up. But I have, besides the 4 hi-hats, I'll have both my Garage Ride and my Custom Crash. I will have my... Oh, shut up. I'll have my my 2 Omnis here, and I'll have my 2 Swishes here. And then I'll have the 19 Paragon China and the 22 Paragon China. And then obviously also I have the Toll Spires and the cowbells. And in fact, this kit is where I came up with the idea of having the Toll Spires and the cowbells over top of the rack toms. And at the time, the AAX Omni and the Diamondback mount were actually coming here out of the rack leg. And as soon as I put these here, it meant that these two were kind of overlapping the fourth Toll Spire here and the Mambo cowbell, and so that meant that they had to be uncomfortably high. So then when I brought this idea over to the Keystone kit, the first thing I did was move the AX Omni and the Paragon Diamondback out a little bit, and so then I started doing that on this kit as well, and it makes it a lot more comfortable to play. But it also meant that suddenly these 2 rack legs here were free, and so that was, previous to me moving these out, I could only mount the 2 Omnis and the 2 Swishes, and that was it. But now I have the ability, if I want, to add the Chinas back in. And as silly as it might sound, it does actually give me a really good extra place to go, just in terms of crash cymbal usage. I think we talked about that before in those couple of videos. But other than that, so really the only thing, obviously you can see my very fancy, I was traveling with this kit a lot over this past summer, and at one point my mom said to me, those cables you have for the hi-hats, they take away from the green sparkle of your drums. So I'm going to get you like some green sparkle tape or something to get to put over top of the black cable, and that way it'll match the kit. So yeah, you can see my very fancy ornate cable hi-hat arrangement right here. Other things, I have one cymbal stand here to put the lampshade, which you'll see later. And then I have a snare stand. But actually for both kits, really the only things that are sitting on the floor for both kits are the floor toms and the snare drum. Everything else comes off the rack, and in this particular case, the lampshade is sitting on the floor. But everything else for the Keystone kit comes off the rack, and everything here comes off the rack. And really the only piece of equipment that I have to ferry back and forth between the 2 kits is the bass drum pedal, and the foot pedal block. So this is the exact same bass drum pedal that you've seen. It's the same DW5000. My thinking is, well, first of all, double bass drum pedals are expensive, number one. But number two, and far more important, is I take the same sticks everywhere, no matter where I go. So given that the bass drum pedal is my sticks for my feet, I don't see a particular need to switch that up. So I'm sticking with the same bass drum pedal, and it does not take a long time, nor is it that great of an expenditure of effort to take it off of the Keystone kit, and then when I get back home, put it back on. So anyway, one other thing I can mention, in the Keystone kit, I mentioned when I was talking about the rototoms, and I mentioned that I had some extra pieces. This kit, or this hardware setup that I have here, started life as it's a package you can get. I got it through Sweetwater, but it's a package you can get where it comes with, one full-size bar and 2 rack legs. So that's how this kit started, and then obviously I had the 2 sides, and so I needed two more legs to be able to set this kit up. And so I bought 2 Pearl Icon Rack. I think they're called movable T-legs. I'm pretty sure that's the model number, but I could be wrong about that. But they're basically, that's what these side legs are. They're about half as tall as a normal rack leg. And then they come with just a piece of hardware that sticks out of the top. But I took that piece out because I was going to put cymbal stands in there. And that was how I had this extra pipe. And as you can kind of see back there, it's this extra pipe right here and right here that is, that you get, that comes where these cymbal stands are. And I almost forgot to mention one other thing that I don't have duplicates of, and that's these 2. So the LP Everything racks, if I want the Toll Spires and the Cowbells, I have to take them wherever I'm going. As you can see, they're not on the Keystone kit right now. But that's about it. That's my green kit hardware setup, and now I'm going to get back to actually putting the drums and all the instruments on. And so more content to come soon, starring this kit.
Opinions or your beliefs like the hide. Some people just want to exist, but say the wrong thing and you're worse at the twist. Let it blow over, stop clenching your fist. There's so much to hate, but please try to resist. They just need to know what they said was wrong. No need to ruin their life for a song. Maybe someday they'll get where you're coming from, but not if you're forcing your views to belong. Start a clean slate and say fuck all the hate and forget we used to make America great. It's a new world and we're running this shit. Time to stop tearing it down and create.
Let the battle begin.